Today's gospel reminds us to proclaim on the housetops in public the word of the Lord. Do not be afraid. I recently saw two nuns who were an example of those who are not afraid to proclaim the word of the Lord by their actions. And I would like to remind you that the nuns have been a force of love and care in the Catholic Church since the beginning. They are unafraid to be heralds of the love of Jesus. I went to a Catholic school, and I have a very high opinion and respect for the nuns. However, it was just elevated to a new level. But first, a little story of how some nuns were considered by some in the past. It starts with little Johnny, who is not doing so well in public school. His parents talked about his poor grades and decided to send him to Catholic school with the hope the nuns could help Johnny to do better. On the first day of school, Johnny came home and immediately did his homework and was a changed boy. When his report card came, it was better than his parents had hoped for, and they were amazed. They asked Johnny why such a change, and he replied, "The nuns meant business, and they were tough." They asked him how he knew this, and he replied, "On my first day of school, when I went to math class, they had a man nailed to a plus sign. I knew they meant business." The reason for the story is I just returned from Honduras and met two Franciscan nuns, Sister Yearly and Sister Johanna, who are a great inspiration to me and to those they serve. They were with us every day in the hot weather, their long robes, sweating like the rest of us, and they always had a smile on their face. They were a blessing, and they helped with joy. Their help was amazing, but their smiles and loving attitude was even more amazing. They were doing the work of the Lord with love, and it showed. And there is no better example I can think of than to do the work of the Lord with love and a smile on your face. I also wanted to acknowledge those who participated in the mission. There were medical, dental, and catechetical teams who spent 1 week helping those in need. I would urge you to look at the parish website or the parish Facebook page and see the good work that was done in the missionary spirit and prayerfully consider what you can do to help. The spirit of the gospel is a gospel of love of others, and what better way to show your love than to be present to those in need? There is no better proclamation of the gospel than to love and care for others, to be present in their lives. Jesus said in today's gospel, "Fear no one." Easier said than done. After all, they nailed him to the cross for speaking the truth. And how many other martyrs are there that have given their lives for God? In the beginning, it was very difficult to be a Catholic, to be a Christian. Then after a couple centuries, it became much easier. And up until World War II, it was perfectly acceptable to be a Catholic in most places when I was a child. Up until my early adulthood, we could say Merry Christmas without fear of offending anyone. There was a level of acceptance for others in their faith. Even if they did not share our faith, they were polite and allowed us to be who we were. When you come to the church, you come to a building. It's where the sacred Mass is held, but it is only for a short time every week. Your home is the domestic church. Do not be afraid to bring the gospel to your home. It is a fact. Many of the young do not attend church. Did we do a good job of teaching them? Do they really understand what they are missing? Is the lure of the world so strong that they don't have a chance? I think not. I think we must work to do a better job. We should not drive the young away by endless preaching to them, but rather tell them gently and show them by our actions that we believe. Pray at meals. Be considerate. Volunteer to help others. Be an example. The standard Jesus set forth in today's gospel is clear. Everyone who acknowledges me before others, I will acknowledge before my heavenly Father. But whoever denies me, I will deny before my heavenly Father. It may be uncomfortable. You may be unfriended on Facebook or other social media. Some may no longer talk to you. My question to you is, were they ever really your friends, that they cannot accept your beliefs? Is it okay for them to express their beliefs, but if you express yours, then you are wrong and they are right? Where does the golden rule come into play that we should all follow? Do you speak of God to the young, or do you deny God by your silence? Jeremiah was being persecuted for doing the work of the Lord. In today's reading, we heard, denounce him, let us denounce him. All those who are my friends are on watch for any of my missteps. Perhaps he will be trapped. Then we can prevail and take our vengeance on him. It is difficult if the world is against you, and it is more difficult when your friends are against you. The days are approaching, unfortunately, where it may be illegal to be a Christian or a Catholic. How will you stand for your faith in Jesus? My question to you is, if it becomes illegal to be a Catholic and you are arrested for the crime of being a Catholic, will you be convicted? Or will you plead down to a misdemeanor of just being a friendly, social Catholic, in name but not word? What will those who rarely attend church say? Hey, I was raised a Catholic, but I never go to church, so I should not be convicted for what I do not do. It takes work to be in a family, to be a good son or daughter. It takes work and effort to be a good husband or wife. It takes work to be a good friend and neighbor, and it takes work to be a good Catholic and to love as Jesus taught. To understand the gospel and Jesus' teaching is to understand love of one another and to treat one another as you would have them treat you. These are the values that are the core of the Catholic faith. They are the core of the gospel. They are the core of Jesus' teaching. But they are not the core values of the world. Do not be surprised when you are mistreated and ridiculed for holding values that are in the gospel. Jesus faced those who disliked him and persecuted him for speaking the truth. Jesus stood firm. He did not waver, even in the face of adversity, hate, and ridicule, even on the cross. Just before he died, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Can you think of a higher or better message? One day, you will face the Lord. It would be good for you to have been tried and convicted for being a Catholic. St. Anthony of Padua.